First of all, how's everyone doing? Can you give me a face telling me how you're feeling today? There's some thumbs up. Okay. Okay. I, on the other hand, am a little, I'm a little, I'm a little sick today. And I'm going to be breaking out into random song throughout this, and it's not going to sound nearly as good as normal. And I like to say that I sing because I have a voice and I don't sing because I can actually sing. But this is going to be like a level below that singing. This is going to be like probably unacceptable singing. But you all might know the song. So I need you to jump in and help me. This is going to be a collective effort because I need the work of the people today. And that's all of you. And so other caveats, some of you may have heard me speak before, and I'm going to give you some cliff notes about the things that I really like to talk about. Now, you're going to hear about some dishes getting broken later, but just know that these are different dishes than I spoke about 3 years ago, okay? So like different dishes got broken. That's number one. Okay, the other thing is that some of you know that I have specific spiritual practices that are outside of just being you. You know, I'm really into the Buddhism thing, right? And some of you may not have known that I recently started practicing listening to my $20 Hamilton soundtrack all around the house while I act out all of the characters myself. Yeah, so I converted to that a couple of weeks ago after it was added to Disney Plus, and I'm a Hamiltonite now. So that's also going on under my Buddhism. And I feel really good about this decision, although my husband's been wondering if I'm planning an affair or a revolution, but otherwise, no complaints, you know? I guess the only bad thing is that I literally filter everything through Hamilton soundtrack. Is there anyone else doing that? Can I see, is there anyone else filtering everything through the soundtrack of Hamilton, right? So I began working as a contact tracer about 5 weeks ago. I work for the CDC Foundation. Thank you. I work for the CDC Foundation, and we actually work with our local health department. It's invigorating. And during a staff meeting last week, I got to be in the space with the infamous, purely genius Dr. Levine, right? Dr. Levine is our health secretary, and she is a bomb. She is so good. She has spotlights in other states all across the country every single week. Every day there's something from Dr. Levine. And someone asked her if she had an opinion about how important is the life of faith for people. How important is it for them to practice their faith? Now, this was all just questions from the staff. So this was just us in a room on Skype. And she said, I like to think about spirituality as the eye of the hurricane, and that everything is swirling around you and there's chaos in the world. But then when you find your center, and it can be, she said, it could be yoga, it could be writing, it could be meditation. When you find your way back into that center, you're in the middle of the hurricane and everything else is going around you, but you're in the middle of peace. And I was like, I feel like I've heard that in the Bible or something. And then I was like, oh, in the eye of the hurricane, there was quiet, which is from Hamilton. I'm just like, I got to stop. This is Dr. Levine. Come on, Crystal. But no, seriously, okay, there will be no spoiler alerts for Hamilton, okay? It's just dope analogy that keeps cropping up in our moral imagination. This eye of the hurricane. I hear that all the time, every couple of years, and it really sits with me. Also, because ministry is an everlasting pastoring that makes you test everything on yourself first, and then find meaning in meaningless things. That's the other problem. And so I got in an argument with my husband last week, a little, right after Hamilton. And we were supposed to be going outside with Josiah. And Josiah's my toddler, the one that's 2.5, even though he comes about right here when he's standing up. So, you know, I admittedly, I'm going to be real with y'all today. You're in my house. This is a little different than being on the podium. Okay. So I got my tea here. I'm gonna kick it to y'all real. I decided to pout in our room for like 10 minutes. So instead of the resolution and moving forward, and I think it was actually really small miscommunication. He was like on the phone and I was getting dressed and I thought he was still on the phone, and he was like, hey, we were waiting for you, which makes me so angry. And I'm just in my room. So I was like, Josiah, you come in here. We're going to sit down and we're going to chill. So I had Josiah in my room, and I finally got up after 10 minutes and I was like, I'm ready to go outside if you want to go outside with us. And he was like, boop. And the PlayStation came on. So he was not going anywhere. He was like, no, I'm chilling. I think I'm fine. He was like, I'm not really feeling the vibe right now. I was like, I'm feeling the vibe. I was like, let's go, Josiah. So me and Josiah go. And normally, I'll tell you, me and my husband were best friends in college. And us getting into an argument is irrelevant when we're about to go do something. We're going outside. We love being outside so much. We just really don't care. But in this instance, he was like, I'm not going to go. So I was like, come on, Josiah, mama will take you. So me and Josiah walk to the car, and I'm trying to hold a million things and hold his hand. And we get in the car, and yeah, I am probably the last person that knew there was a storm coming the other day. Okay, last person in America to found out the hard way. Now, it wasn't hurricane day. It was day before hurricane day. So I start driving and the sky opens up and it is pouring. Like, it is the heaviest rain I've ever seen. And it's like so cold. I like cracked the window and it's literally like freezing outside. And I'm like, okay, so we're doing this. Josiah, for the first time in my whole life, says, Mama, won't run in the rain? I was like, what did you say? He was like, Mama, won't run in the rain? I said, did you say you wanted to run in the rain? He said, yeah, run in the rain. I was like, oh, bro. And I've been practicing this open, explorative parenting where I allow him to from the day I had him, and I do this with all my kids. I let them be themselves, and I watch Neil deGrasse Tyson, whatever his last name, he's like super dope Black scientist, and he's like, we quell our kids' individuality and creativity when we don't let them jump in puddles. So me and my husband will look at each other when he wants to jump in a puddle, and we're like, it's science. So I always pack a change of clothes. So I'm just like, okay, honey, we're gonna run in the rain. All right. And I'm just like, I don't want to do this. I have a tank top on and some yoga pants. So, the type that stop at your ankles. So I climb through the back of my truck and I find at least some tennis shoes, and I have an umbrella on there. I have like a mom bin. It has a towel and emergency ponchos and umbrella. But I said, is this an emergency poncho type of thing? What if I have like a flat tire? So I decided to just go with tank top, sweatpants, umbrella, sneakers. Would not recommend. 0 out of 5. Remember, this was cold rain because a hurricane was coming, a tornado was coming. It was so cold. But I sucked it up and I let that boy run through the rain at the botanical garden by our house. And while the cold drops whipped at my shoulders and stung my ankles, he had a ball. Okay. This boy was the happiest I've seen in 2.5 years. I was so miserable until we got midway into the park and he wanted to play under the big tree. And I was like, all I saw was solace. Now, this tree is like 30 feet tall. I'm really bad with measurements. I would say it's like two houses on top of each other that are 3 stories. So like a 6-story brownstone, which would probably be a little expensive, but just for our purposes. We're not talking about property tax. We're talking about this tree. And the middle goes up and the stalk is like really high. And then the branches branch down. So if you go under it, you can stand up inside of the tree. Okay. It's amazing. And during a stormy, cold, wet day, it is the best feeling you've ever had to get under this tree. Now I'm standing there with my umbrella still up. And I said, this thing is right on time, but I was just relaxing myself. And I started to think about Hamilton and Dr. Levine saying that there is quiet in the eye of the hurricane. And I felt like I was in the middle of that. And I almost completely lost my inspiration because I knew the only way back home was to walk through the rain. But then I instantly knew I was going to talk about this today. See, there it is, people. Meaningless. When you're a minister, you're like, write this down. Yeah, this is inspiring. And it may not have been in that moment, but it made me start thinking about how do we start walking back through the rain? Okay, so we're going to switch gears to another movie that you can find on Disney Plus. Hashtag sponsored. I'm just kidding. We're not sponsored. Have you guys seen Endgame? Okay, there's not going to be any spoilers. I just want to tell you all something that I spent 3 weeks in January when me and my husband moved into this house together and I got a TV back in my household. I watched all 33 hours of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that led into Endgame by release date. Now, yes, I groomed, I played with my kids, I fed them, but I didn't work much at all. I think I was substitute teaching and just running my consulting business. So I just was like, I'm actually busy this week, you know? So I just I just watched movies and took care of the kids. And then I would leave and go to the grocery store and go to the gym, and Josiah goes to the daycare at the gym. But then it was like back to Iron Man. And it took me probably like 60 hours because I had to stop and pause and like go talk with the kids and like feed them because they eat like 3 times a day, snacks and stuff. You know, it was inconvenient, but now Josiah sees Iron Man and he's like, that's Tony Stark. And I'm like, it was worth it. Because eventually they all just had to watch the movies with me. And it was a good time. But I only mentioned Endgame because I really fell into the Hulk super hard. I have this, the Hulk does not get enough credit. He doesn't get enough attention. And he has a backstory, and that big green thing has feelings. And I learned a little bit about what's going on with the Hulk. And I really felt it. Why? Well, my stepdaughter said one day around that time, she said, I can't even imagine you angry. And I prodded her on it, and she almost described what I think of as a monk. Like, I mean, she said, well, you're like pretty much always the same. And I mean, I know you get angry, I guess, just not very angry. And my husband was really good to say to her, well, yeah, she just handles it well. But later I said to him, hey, like, what gives with that? Like, do you think of me like that? And he said, oh, heck no, you get angry all the time. And I was like, right, thank you, husband. And I want to be an authentic person. So I felt a little taken aback by this. Not to say that monks are authentic, but I just don't see myself as being this person that, listen, if you think someone doesn't get angry, they're faking something. So that's the reaction I had. Like, I'm like, do I come off like I never get angry? And then I got to know the Hulk. Oh, baby, I love that man. I screamed out loud when he said this. He said, well, so someone was asking the backstory of like, how do you control the Hulk now? Because, you know, he goes into the doctor and then he's the Hulk and then he's the doctor. And I screamed when he said, You want to know my secret? Yeah, you guys want to know the Hulk secret? He said, I'm angry all the time. I'm angry all the time. I felt that. I felt that. I was like, yes, Hulk, I get that. And let me explain. I'm not saying I'm stomping my feet. Josiah watches Daniel Tiger. It's based off of Mr. Rogers, and he teaches, emotions. And Daniel goes, grr, mad. I'm stomping my feet. Grr, mad. And I'm like, chill out. Which is fine. But like, I'm not doing that. Or I'm not like cursing or like yelling and stuff. But I definitely get angry a lot. And I've come to understand that I define angry as a lot of things and that others may not. When I have these conversations, I realize that other people don't define a lot of things as angry, but I wish they did. And here's why. So anger tends to mask itself as different things. So you know how when you're on Facebook and you're trying to react to something and you're like, is this the wow emoji? Is this the say it? Like, am I disgusted? Am I delighted? I got a lot going on here. And that's just 5 freaking emojis. I want the cares, there was one, they had a heart on it at one time if you're not into Facebook. But right now there's just wow, angry, sad, happy, and like something else, and like love it. And come on, we're humans. Like, what's that? But I'm always like, I'm a little bit of both right now. And so, okay, now we're going to talk about the dishes that got broken. And guess who broke them? Yes, my husband. The problem is, and I don't want y'all to think I got mad because dishes got broken. I want you to understand that I was mad at him because he hid them. So he broke my dishes and he hid them. I started quarantine with 6 wine glasses. And honestly, I didn't even feel like it was enough because I have a wine subscription and I like to taste test. Now I have 1 wine glass and you know where it is? In my room, so he won't break it. But what happens is he works overnight. He comes in the morning. He's trying to be kind and get the dishes for me before I started embracing the dishwasher. And he ends up breaking things because he's so tired. And he explained to me the science of how the water swishes around in the top of the wine glass and then it just jumps out of his hand. And I was like, oh, you poor thing, blah, blah. Why did you hide my wine glasses when you broke them? And he just said, I didn't want to ruin a good moment. If you come downstairs and you're all happy, I didn't want to present some negative information and kind of ruin the vibe. He has a reason all the time. And I told him, listen, I practice Buddhism. So when the glass breaks, I say, oh, of course, it's already broken. Okay, so tell me next time because I'm spiritual. And this man did it like 3 more times and like did not say anything to me about it. And one of them, I found it in the trash can and I was like, I wonder if it's too late to get an annulment. I'm wondering if he could go stay at his mama's house. Like, I'm just like seething and I'm just like, I cannot deal with this. But I think we all go through those dramatic moments of anger. And it's like, I have all of these things that are everything and everybody in those moments. And I'm honestly, I think connected to him offending my spiritual practice, I'm just annoyed and it feels like anger. And I'm just kind of offended and it feels like anger. I felt like he went past the glass into the identity. Like he got all the way in here by not telling me about the glass because I have an identity that's tied in with me being able to accept not being connected to things and things getting broken. And I feel like you're saying something about me and it just looks like anger. Often we don't want to feel it. So yeah, I'm angry all the time because, I mean, come on, like, I'm outraged by the political climate. Let's name it. I'm outraged by the political climate. I'm anxious because of heavy policing, and I like to bump my rap music. I love the Migos and Cardi B, and I drive through the suburbs to go to BJ's, and I'm in my brand new car, and I'm hoping I see a cop, I'm hoping no neighbors are gonna call on me. I'm anxious. I feel paralyzed by inaction because I want to march with people. I want to protest, but I have autoimmune issues. I can't risk getting COVID-19. I'm disgusted by how this pandemic has been botched. And it takes me eons to organize getting food to my house and deliveries and things. And then there's people at beach bars with no mask on. Outraged, enraged, I'm disgusted, paralyzed. And it just feels like angry. It feels like angry. If I don't still myself, it just feels like angry, and we're told not to feel that. And so I'm gonna let you know what I do. I let the hawk have his way, okay? Just saying. I let the hawk have his way, and I I go have my argument with my husband in the car, and I'm just like, and another thing, and I'm just bouncing my music, or I get in the shower and I'm just arguing. Does anyone else have arguments in the shower? It's just like, I'm gonna work this out right now. Like, I just go for a drive and I tell off so-and-so, or I used to do the calm, write a letter. That's not my type of anger. I need to like scream sometimes. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, duh, obviously. Like, there's so much that I'm just like, I need to just let it out. I call this seething thing that I have go on. Now, I tell my loves around me, my daughter, my son, and my husband, I need a moment. And I say it. And this is why I guess my stepdaughter, this is odd to her, because I say, I'm angry. Mama's angry, and I need to go walk outside. Like, that's my anger. That's my indication. Now, my husband knows that I'm angry. I'm going to go. Like, he knows that that's like really angry. But for the most part, for the kids, I'm just like, guys, I'm going to walk away before I say something not nice. Okay, Mama's angry. Bye-bye. And that's actually the face of my angry, but that the seething needs to happen alone. We don't need to seethe all over people. We don't need to green hawk. The hawk causes so much destruction before he got used to directing the anger. He used to just be like, hawk smash. I hate to ruin it for you, but he becomes a lot more involved. He's like, hawk smash that. Hawk smash bad guy, not other Avengers, And so I go work through it. Here's why. You have to work through it. If you don't work through that anger, it turns into rage. That anger turns into rage. And then that rage turns into wrath, where I'm a hurricane now. You didn't hear me, so I want you to feel me. You don't understand how bad I feel, so I'm going to make you feel as bad as I feel. Because if I haven't worked through it, it's your fault. Everything's your fault. I'm getting divorced. It's all your fault. Bye. I want you to feel as angry as you made me feel. Instead of naming that, I actually want you to hear that I'm hurt, hear that I'm disappointed, hear that I feel invalued, hear that I felt like you treated me like a child when you decided not to tell me about my glasses. If I don't check that anger and name it and sit with it and let myself feel it, it's going to turn into wrath. Anger turns into rage, turns into wrath. That's the way that I organize it in my mind. Now, I'm not gonna not give you tools to deal with this. I want you to think about it in two different ways. I want you to consider two different things when you're considering letting the anger happen and soothing it, which I hope all of us will. Tell people around you, I'm practicing letting my anger happen. The first thing is, I have this process where I work through the anger and I let myself seethe. And then you might have just heard me do it a little bit. I separate out the emotional responsibility of myself and the emotional responsibility of the other person, because it can't all be theirs. If so let me give you an example about the glasses. Was it really his fault that he breaks a lot of my dishes? Most of the dishes are mine when we moved in together. Most of the dishes are mine. So it is going to feel like he disproportionately breaks my dishes. Okay, take that out. I don't need to be angry at him about that anymore. When I'm seething, I might just say, oh, he doesn't care about my stuff at all. My favorite person in the world, I know you're so tired of hearing me talk about Tara Brock. She's a Buddhist teacher. I love her. She says sometimes it feels real, but it's not true. It's not true. This guy, in our example, my husband, is my best friend. He doesn't not care about my stuff, and he wouldn't have tried to wash the dishes while trying to break them. So emotionally, I need to get over myself by working through it. And I need to accept that I feel offended when it comes to my spiritual practice. I, whatever the case is that I'm feeling, I maybe, you know what, I'm processing this out loud with y'all. I think a lot of what also bothers me is being stuck inside. I know I can't go get more glasses because I got them from Goodwill and I like to buy stuff secondhand. Thank y'all. Okay, I'm gonna go tell him that later. I've worked through some stuff with y'all. Thank you. Ashe. So instead of working through all of that and telling him all of that, I don't need to tell him all of that. I don't need to say all of that. If I would like to share, I can. But separating my emotional responsibility. Only thing that's his emotional responsibility is, babe, it's just a thing. So when it breaks, of course, things break, people break. We worry more about people breaking. If you break my thing, tell me. And so far he has, because I had to separate that out. This is my emotional responsibility and that's his. And this is the only thing I'm going to present. Then the other thing I want you all to consider, and we're almost done, is this 3-step formula that I use that's based on the assertiveness workbook that I got from Barnes and Nobles a couple of years ago. You can find it on Amazon or somewhere not, related to capitalism or something. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, not to get political. Find it somewhere. There's a 3-step formula that has saved me. It saved me. How do I feel? And include what happened. What happened? How I feel about it. And then what can you do next time? And that's it. I say, I'm a little upset that I found my wine glass in the trash can because I wanted you to tell me when you break things ahead of time. I felt a little dismissed. That's it. I don't got to include the other stuff. I say I felt a little dismissed. And next time, it's not going to ruin my day to just let me know when I come in the kitchen, because I'm going to see it soon after I start, and it's okay. It's just a thing. And that's it. And I'll tell you something. It's assertiveness. It's not aggressive. It's not passive aggressive. And this workbook says that assertiveness is supposed to be clear, accurate, direct, and I always add kind. And then you let it go. You don't have to worry about what the other person does with it and how they respond to it. And if they receive it well, you did your job. If you are accurate, direct, clear, and kind, and don't put emotions on them that are your responsibility. Let the anger go, work on it on your own time, and then just present what you want them to understand. And so, I really love that, because the other person, especially if they're used to you taking this on, by the end of the 3rd sentence, they know I'm done. My husband, he looks for those 3 sentences and he's just like, 1, 2, 3, good. What can I do now? And then we're done. We're not rambling. We're not going on into tangents. And we let ourselves get back to love. Now, the other thing is this. Remember me being under that tree, daydreaming about all the ways I can describe to my husband how he was wrong using a PowerPoint? You know, remember that? I noticed something crazy. Josiah was darting in and out from under the branches and going back into the rain. He's just like, oh, this is amazing, just laughing and running back and forth. And I realized that like he only had the same amount of water on his face each time. And I was like, I was quiet in the eye, and I was being pensive, but I wasn't productive. I was disconnected from love. I was disconnected from commitment. I was entertaining my inner child who felt small and her toxicity. I was listening to voices from my past that were whispering, "You're not worth it. You're not worth it. You're not worth it." I was listening to, y'all know I'm always talking about my third grade teacher who I hate, Miss Blaine. But I was listening to my third grade teacher who did not like me. I was listening to all those voices. But Josiah only had the same amount of water on his face. So I ducked under. The rain was still beating so hard on my umbrella. So I ducked under all the branches and I came out and I put it down because it wasn't raining anymore. It was not raining anymore. It was raining under that tree because of all of that was trickling down on me, all of that beating down on me, all of those that past. The thing that just happened, because that argument was in the past. And honestly, you feel an emotion for 20 seconds to a minute sometimes, and we spend a week thinking about it. We spend a week with an inner dialogue about what had happened, that had happened and happened and what's going to happen. And all of that is in our mind. And so I spent so much time bracing myself to walk back into the rain that I forgot to stop and look around. Look around, how lucky you are to be alive right now. That's from Hamilton. Maybe stop and look around, maybe name our anger, maybe be always running to try to get back to love and peace and centeredness. Ashe, and amen. May it be so.
Hi, I'm Reverend Hannah Capaldi.
And I'm Reverend Abby Tennis. We are the ministers at the First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia, where our mission is to awaken love and justice in our lives and in the world.
We're so grateful that you watched, and we hope that the sermon connected with your soul.
We also want to invite you to join us for a live worship service every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can always find the link to that service on our website at www.philauu.org. In these services, you'll hear words like you've just heard, and you also get a chance to greet one another, pray together, sing together, and we even hold a virtual coffee hour after services to get a chance to greet some new and old friends.
If you want to support the mission of this community and you feel moved to give, you can do so by going to the website that Reverend Abby just mentioned. You can find that link below, or you can text 215-709-5095 and follow the prompts to give.
If someone in your life needs to hear these words today, we encourage you to share this video. And again, thank you so much for watching.
We hope to see you soon.